Is it visible? Anyone confirm, please?
Yes, yes, good.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Oh, I could see Deputy CM here. Vattula Satish. Okay. So this is going to be the last topic for the chemical safety. Sometimes my presentation may be jumping here and there. I don't know. Without my intention, my software is having some issue, it seems. Okay. So work permits for hazardous works or hazardous activities or dangerous activities. We'll see now. So which are the activities will fall under this, and what are the precautions to be supposed to be taken while performing such activities in our operations. So the objectives, methodology, issue of the permit, its execution and termination, forcing of hazards and arrangements for their controls, testing and certification of work atmosphere, use of tools, personal protective equipment, first aid and rescue equipments, and training of the workers for such work or common factors in any type of work permit applications. దీస్ ఆర్ వెరీ కామన్. అంటే ఏంటంటే ఒక పర్మిట్ని ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేయటం, ఇష్యూయింగ్ అ పర్మిట్. ఫస్ట్ మెథడాలజీ. మెథడాలజీ అంటే ఏంటి? ఇట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఎ ప్రొసీజర్. హౌ ఎ వర్క్ పర్మిట్ ప్రొసీజర్ విల్ వర్క్. Anybody can explain, already experienced here, how is a work permit process in your company? The procedure of permit to obtain a permit. అంటే ఒక కంపెనీలో పర్మిట్ తీసుకోవాలంటే ప్రాసెస్ ఏం ఫాలో అవుతున్నారు? ఎనీబడి జస్ట్ టు క్విక్లీ అండర్స్టాండ్.
Yeah, I can explain from our
Yeah,
company.
please. Expected.
Yeah, this is Suresh. Basically,
Sorry.
the
Suresh.
maintenance team.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, depending upon the maintenance orders that are mapped in the SAP. So we follow SAP system in our company. So the maintenance orders will be mapped in SAP. So as per schedule, that maintenance order will be triggered. Based on that order, maintenance people, they will raise a request through SAP or through PTW. One module is there. We are following EPTW.
Okay.
So that permit will be raised depending upon the nature of work. Job preparations has to be done prior. And before that, job safety plan, JSP, we call it as job safety plan, and toolbox talk, apart from the job preparations. So all these will be done depending upon the nature of work and the hazards or risks involved. What are all the precautions in place? All these things will be mentioned in the PTW, and that will be from requester side. So once the requester completes the PTW formalities, it will be flown to the reviewer.
Yeah.
So reviewer will review all the permit conditions, maintenance requirements, job safety preparations, as well as the site conditions. And once these are satisfied, a reviewer will enter some comments in the reviewing section, and he will it's like a
Approval.
two-stage approval process. So reviewer
Okay.
is the first stage approval, and approver will be the second stage of approval process. So
Okay.
once the approver accepts or approves the permit in the system, it will be deemed to be permit is issued.
Okay.
So after the work is completed, again the closure request will be raised from through the system, and again
Okay. Again,
the
it is done by the
reviewer,
receiver.
yeah, it will come back
Okay.
from the receiver, from the requester,
Okay.
and reviewer or approver can close the permit depending on the site conditions and the work status.
Okay. When you say like that, the requester will raise the permit. The reviewer and the approver, they will visit the site, or they do at
Yes.
the desktop approval.
No. Actually, we have to ensure the site conditions, whether it is favorable or not. If at all any additional precautions are to be taken like that, any like suggestions or requirements are there that are also to be communicated, and then only we will review. I mean, it will be accepted, approved.
Okay. Can I assume the approver will be the safety team or the plant head, or the?
Approver will be in our case, he is plant manager or plant head, you can
Okay.
say.
Understood. Okay.
So we don't have a separate safety team
Safety.
at site level. So
Okay.
only the lead operations who is looking after the operations aspect, he is also designated as a safety coordinator, HSSC coordinator. So he will
Okay.
be the reviewer for the permits.
So he also takes care of the safety role as well in that part.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Thanks, Suresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. So I think who are not familiar with the permit process, Suresh explained well the sequence. So basically, this complete process, whatever he explained, we'll be putting it in a procedure. So any new joinees comes in, we will explain him. Okay, we have a work permit process or permit to work. So some of the companies will call work permit system. Some of the companies they called as PTW, like in first class as we discussed, EHS policy, safety policy, like that. Same way, permit to work or work permit. They, I mean, based on their terminology, they put it in. So basically, here in the Suresh's organization, they have online permitting system. Very less companies, I can say, is having such a kind of advanced technologies in part of permit, but most of the companies still they are following the hard papers or the physical paper for issuing the permit. So it is simple as usual. As a requester mentioned by Suresh, the permit requester will be sometimes a contractor or a company own employee. They will write the permit, all the details, then it will go to the respective area owner or area supervisor, then he will give the approval. And then if it is any isolations is required, maintenance people also will do the respective isolations, then they will also sign whether who is done by the isolation, the name and the signature. Then it will go to the safety officer, then he will review the conditions. It does not mean that safety officer will review the conditions, even the area owner also will review the conditions of the workplace, whether it is acceptable, all the hazards have been identified, all the respective safety precautions have been implemented or not. They will cross check. As a final check, safety officer will be visiting the place, then he will sign on the permit. Once you have completed all the designatories, once they sign on the permit, then it is been allowed to start an activity. So what are the problems we face, especially in the permit system? So what will happen because of capacities? When I say capacity, the number of people in the shift, especially the safety team, if they are less or minimum people, if the number of permits are more, what will happen? There we have a limitation. When I say limitation, the drawback. Because of less capacities of the safety team, the permits will be getting delayed. There the friction starts. They may say that until unless the safety is not signing, you are not supposed to initiate the activity. But the contractor people have come, the safety guy is running here and there, hence he is alone. He is not able to issue the permit on time. So these are the from practical issues. Sometimes they will start the activity also. Once their respective area manager given the signature, they will start the initiate the activity. They won't wait for us. So these are some of the practical issues we could see, especially in the night shifts. Even they won't write the permit also. They simply enter the inside the vessels or they start the activity, and they won't inform until unless we went through the site rounds. When you see that, no sir, हम लोग तो just अभी अंदर गए थे just to do a simple activity. Okay, so such a kind of situations will face or the limitations of the permit. When I was in BP, we were using an electric PW system online. Okay. Yeah, I mentioned, I mean, the MNCs, in even MNCs also few companies are having this online permit to work systems. Otherwise, most of them still they're following the paperwork. Okay, fine. So Suresh also mentioned that job safety precautions or preparations, or JSA, job safety analysis. So some of the companies, they do JSA on the spot for the each activity. Sometimes they have predefined JSAs for the specific activities, and they will attach that JSA to the permit. Okay, fine. Then what are the things? Execution, termination, and forcing of the hazards. When I say termination, permit termination, forcing of the hazards, and arrangement their controls, identification of hazards and their controls. This hazard identification controls, there we can see in the JSA, testing and certification of working atmosphere. When I say testing and certification of working atmosphere, anybody can give example for this point? Testing and certification of working atmosphere.
Real monitoring.
Yes, perfect example. So basically, I can give an overall example as confined space, even LEL. LEL, we need not to do only in the confined space. Whenever you are doing any process areas, hard work, there we do this LEL mounting, low explosive limit. Okay, it should be 0. It indicates the presence of the flammable mixture around the vicinity. Basically, you are testing atmosphere, saying that okay, everything is fine, nothing harmful the atmosphere to execute the activity. Okay. Okay. Then we have use of tools and also personal protective equipment. What are the tools they are using? Again, here we talk about uh, non-sparking tools, especially in the process areas, and personal protective equipments, respective based on the activity. They have to choose the suitable personal protective equipments, first aid and rescue equipments, and training of workers for such work are common factors. Even first aid will be basically you'll have these first aid kits in your operations area itself, or you'll also have in the OHC centers. And apart from that, rescue equipments. When talk about rescue equipments, you should have, in case of a confined space activity, you'll have a tripod or the ladder or any lifeline for the keeping the people away from, or take people from the emergency situations. And also training of workers for such work as common factor. So training of workers. So whoever is performing, for example, people are entering in the confined space, they should be trained, or they should be familiar with what kind of hazards associated with the activity which they are doing. And also in case of any emergency, what are the do's and don'ts. Okay, all those things has to be uh, explained to the workers, so that it will be easy to perform the activity. And its sole purpose is to save the lives and also avoid accident. So most of the people think that especially the production people, they think that, and also contractor people, they think that the permit activity, it is a time waste activity. अरे यार ये सेफ्टी वाला तो परमिट बराबर टाइम पे देता ही नहीं है, हर दिन 2 घंटा ये परमिट लेने के लिए हम लोगों का टाइम वेस्ट हो रहा है. So that is what they have there in mindset. They always think to finish their activity, leave the premises. But for a safety, it is not just that activity, it can finish and go. If something has happened, it can leads to a major accident, it is leads to loss of life of the people. Even for the contractors also, we should be very clear that whenever you are dealing with any projects, if your organization involves you in the project meetings, you should be very clear. Sometimes what will happen, the company or the purchase team, they open their eyes very late. They will keep the contractor at the gate, and they will ask us, okay, I need 15 sets of shoes, 15 pairs of shoes, or 20 helmets, or 100 pairs of gloves. But we didn't have such intent, we didn't have such inventory. They said, okay, you have to provide like that and all. Nothing will happen. So we have to be very cautious in case of any such projects are happening. You make them aware that purchase team, they have to involve the safety, and we have to explain the terms and conditions for the execution of that contract activity. Then they will be well prepared, so there will not be any conflicts once the people enter into the site. Then hazardous substances, or so they may be an explosives, flammables, or toxic, hot, corrosive, and maybe in the form of various forms: dust, gas, vapor, steam, hot oil, etc. They pose high degree of hazards and have caused many accidents worldwide, and need strict safety precautions while working with them. Definitely yes. Whenever handling with such kind of equipments, if you are not handling them properly, definitely it leads to an hazard, it leads to an accident, then resulting in a damage. What are the other factors? There are some more factors which are very common. The vital part of devising any safety work permit is to concentrate on physical hazards which is involved, and then also apply their remedial measures. A material safety data sheet will be expose property hazards, storage process and vessel conditions can reveal their specific hazards, and due consideration to all such hazards is necessary before devising any substance wise work permit. So basically, it talks about, we concentrate on the physical hazards like hot surfaces, slippery surfaces, then sharp edges, noise, etc. And the material safety data sheet, it gives the property of the hazards. When I say property, it gives the details of the material. So whenever you are attending for any spill management, or you're attending any tank cleaning, so you will see the material which is stored in the tank. You read the MSDS, then we'll understand the properties of the substance, and also what are the precautions to be taken care. Even storage and also process and vessel conditions can reveal the specific hazards. When I say specific hazards, it is specific to the situation or vessel conditions. Maybe in the normal conditions, the material is not giving any hazard, or it is not giving any impact on the people. When the vessel is in hot, whatever the residues which are attached to the wall of the vessel, then it starts getting reacted. This is specific hazards, specific to the condition or specific to the situation. Accordingly, we have to take the measures. The normal hazardous work maintenance or modifications need work permit. It is given as follows. When you say operations, which are the, I mean, various kinds of works we need to fall under a permit system. It is not mandatory that, okay, only these are the set of activities which is supposed to go. Basically, all the uh, unauthorized or non-regular activities has to go through the permit process. Even we have discussed the IS stand also 17216. I forgot the number. So the permit system has to be followed. Whenever you fail, it is non-regular activity or list of defined activities. Those has to go through the permit process. Okay. Then with respect to operations, excavation, vessel entry, work at height, hot works, welding, cutting, etc. And even pipeline breaking. Pipeline breaking in the sense, it is not about damaging the pipeline, it is opening of the pipeline. Lining in the surfaces, it is nothing but insulation application, waste disposal, ship breaking or cutting, etc. Equipment, electrical, pneumatic, hydraulic, lifting machines, crane or sprinklers, hydrant system. Hazardous areas, explosives, flammables, corrosive, radioactive, or toxic atmosphere. If you are working in such kind of atmospheres also, you are supposed to take the permit. Okay. Now we'll see some of the general and special hazards. Both should be considered. For example, a work with a flammable dust, gas, vapor, or liquid requires a flame-proof equipment and avoidance of all the sources of ignition. If you feel that there is a chance of, or there is a presence of flammable atmosphere, either dust, either gas, or either vapor, there we have to avoid the non-sparking tools, and also we have to avoid the source of ignition. ఏవైతే మంటను పుట్టించే వేడిని పుట్టించే పనులు మనం అక్కడ చేయకూడదు. But depending on the class of the fire, a specific fire extinguisher is required. And based on the type of material which is chances of burning, or based on the type of combustible material it is there, accordingly we have to choose the suitable fire extinguisher. For example, there is an oil, you go with a foam. There is a basic plastic, either you go with a powder or a water, even we can use foam as well. Depends on the type of material or the class of the fire, you have to choose the suitable fire extinguisher. And work with toxic dust or gas, need local exhaust or a capture device, but depending on type and the concentration, specific respirator is required. When you are working in such environments, you need the local exhaust ventilations. What is mean by local exhaust ventilation? Anybody can example? Difference between dilution ventilation and local exhaust ventilation.
Like that blower, sir. Local
Okay.
exhaust system, blower. Dilution system is sir. Dilution system is scrubbing system. AHU system also local exhaust system.
AHU systems. So AHU will give in the cool air, right? It is in a positive ventilation. You will supply the cool
Air
air.
supply and yes.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Ramarao. So as you mentioned, when you say local exhaust, when you say exhaust is also called as extraction. The extraction of the fumes from the source, it is directly capturing exactly above the fumes where it is generating. You are extracting the fumes. That is called as local. When you say dilution ventilation, will have many things. Even you are putting an exhaust fan somewhere in the room, or you have provided so many openings to your building, then also that is also will called as dilution ventilation. In the dilution ventilation, you reduce the concentration of the fumes or the concentration of the chemical. In the local exhaust ventilation, you mostly you take out the complete emissions from the source of emission, and also specific respirator based on the concentration we have to use. Okay, with the corrosive and also acids, need acid-proof hand gloves, goggles, and apron. But depending on the fumes given by it, a specific respirator also required. So one is based on the nature of the hazard. You have to choose the respective PPs. Work with hot substances required shielding and also hand protection. But depending on its nature, like steam, oil, molten metal, liquids, etc., and specific type of hand protection, cotton, leather, asbestos, it is not there. It is banned now. You are getting different kinds of leathers and also heat resistant gloves to be selected. Then working with fractional roof, need crawling boards and substantial platform or support for the of a safety belt. But at the height, place and position will be decide the type of ladder or platform, and also type of anchoring as specific requirement. Depends on the height, depends on the position, depends on the place. These equipments will differ. Some of them will be common, but depends on the work situation or the position of the work where you are working, it will be makes the difference. And work with dust requires exhaust or suction devices, but the type exactly what what kind of dust. Okay. Either sand, coal, wood, or chemical, powder, or bioorganic, and also the size. Decides the specific type of respirator and also the suction device. Okay, these are the some of the special hazards we have to look for in your respective activity. Is there any such kind of hazards which are present? Then knowledge of appropriate solvents or scrubbing media, absorbers, and also inactivating substances is always useful while preparing for work permit. Any specific substances when you are attending for. The knowledge of right type of tools, tackles, and equipments and instrument helps in suggesting the work with safety. And also the usage of tools also is very important. What kind of tool to be selected and equipment to be selected to make the job more safer and safer. And also work permit to demolish or repair any tank, vessel, or equipment need any special precautions. The inner content should be identified and removed before allowing any hard work. So the content, sometimes most of the accidents happen while cutting with the MS drums, the solvent drums, even welding for the any vessels which are contaminated with those solvents. It is to be completely cleaned and removed. Then you have to check the atmosphere. It is nothing but LEL. Then accordingly, you have to allow the cutting activity or hard work. The atmosphere must be rendered or non-flammable. This is what I am explaining. And the residues lies not only on the bottom but also on the walls and also may evolve volatile material such as catch fire. The polymer residues normally lies on the upper walls on the roof. To remove such residues, first requirement is to clean them. So the chemicals or depends on the vapor density of the material. What will happen? They stay at the different heights of the vessel. Some of them may be in the bottom, some of them may be in the middle, or some of them may be in the top of the vessel. So we are not sure. So that we should make sure that properly cleaning is done. Cleaning can be performed by hand cleaning or machine cleaning or steam cleaning, etc. Bottom residues can be covered by water or a protein foam as a blanketing, or innerting also possible, but this needs an oxygen reduction below 10% to carry out any hard work on the tank. When you say innerting, again you are filling nitrogen in the tank while performing the filling activity. Then where liquid content is the low flash point below 40 degrees, the tank may be filled with the water. Then we do a cold cutting using pneumatic chisels method to be applied. Again, here the application of the work method also is very important. So we have to choose for safe method for the performance. The work can be done any way. There will be a way which is dangerous in nature or hazardous in nature or risk in nature. There is a way it is safe to execute. So we have to choose the safe work methods. And the cutting should start from the top and also proceed towards the bottom. Here the vapor space is minimized, resulting in turn minimization of the hazards, but the tank should be capable of withstanding the water load. Okay, it is also a specific activity, not a common in all the locations. In any another type method, high expansion foam can be used as a blanket. Heat exchanger containing flammable vapor can be filled with water and also crushed for demolition. When you go for an exchangers, they fill with the water. For the demolition, they are crushing it. However, it should not be noted that all the such technical require special knowledge and also need of an expert or competent person. Definitely, yes. For doing all this, the people should be well familiar. If you are not familiar, you can contact with the maintenance team or process team. They can help you out. Then this is then a sample work permit. Already we have seen the various work permit copies. Moreover, it is same. Nothing makes difference. It is not a mandatory template that okay you should follow only this. Based on your nature and type of activity on your company process, you can alter this permit. It will have your company logo or serial number of the permit, or who is involved, either name and address of the contractor, sometimes the requester, and the date, permit, site supervisor, the designation, plant or section where it is doing, description of the work to be filled in the permit, number of equipments, what are the equipments you are using, and also what are the probable or the potential hazards. So these are the potential hazards which is associated with that activity. Okay. Then these are the following safety measures are necessary, have to be provided. Okay, for proper scaffolding, if it is in height work, means of access, how they can enter, safety net, and also crane condition, crane operator is competent or not, electrical equipment to provide the earthing, ELCVs to avoid the shock, man use of safety helmets, use of safety belt, use of proper safety goggles, provisions of shoring for the excavation, like providing a benching at the site to avoid the collapse of the wall. Then guards on moving machineries, static lines are provided by using any workman at height. Static line is nothing but lifelines. And cutting of deep excavations, hazardous area with warning signages. It is nothing but providing or putting a barricade around. And then we'll have the signature of the contractor, supervisor, and other people. They will do signatures based on the protocol which you are following. Okay. Then we have permit for vessel entry. So what is mean by permit for vessel entry? It is nothing but a confined space entry permit. Anybody can give what is mean by confined space, what are the parameters or the criteria to fulfill to call it as confined space. అంటే confined space ని ఏమంటాము, దానికి ఉండాల్సిన లక్షణాలు ఏంటి, మనం దానికి confined space అని చెప్పాలంటే. ఎస్ రామారావు
కన్ఫైన్
గారు.
స్పేస్ అంటే కంజెస్టెడ్ ఏరియా ఉంటుంది కదా, కంజెస్టెడ్ ఆఫ్ ఫైవ్ లైన్స్.
ఓకే, కంజెస్టెడ్ ఏరియా.
It is a cylindrical shape of cell, sir. And one entry.
Is it necessary? Okay, sorry for the interruption. Is it necessary in cylindrical shape to be a confined space?
No need. It's one way. Main entrance and out both are same. And it may be rectangular, it may be cylindrical, different type of. Main thing is that vessel entry having the oxygen level is minimum required 18%, 17.5 to 21 in between.
Okay.
A kind of a closed space with restricted entry. Not meant for human occupancy.
Okay. Yes. So basically, it is having limited entrance and limited egress. అంటే లోపలికి పోవడానికి వచ్చేదానికి it is having a limited space. At a time, 4-5 people cannot come out, and 4-5 people cannot enter inside the space. And then a lack of oxygen or the deficiency of oxygen less than 19.5%. Okay, that is the one. The presence of harmful substances in the vessel, and also not designed for continuous occupancy. Any vessel, you just check all these questions. Okay, is it a limited entry and egress, or is there any deficiency of oxygen? Is there any presence of harmful substances, or is it designed for continuous occupancy or not? any of 3 or 2 which is meeting the requirement or the criteria, you can declare that as a confined space. And also, most of the organizations, whenever any entries or vessels or tanks are there, they will define, okay, confined space permit is required, or without permit, nobody supposed to enter.